All praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. And this is going to be a video on the scattered Israelites and how these Christians don't get it, man, or they don't want to get it, because when it comes to their doctrine of believing that there's a spiritual Israel, they can understand that, all of us people, although we might look different, we're spiritually Israel. They can understand that clear as day. But for some reason, these buffoons don't seem to be able to understand that plenty of different people can all look different, but belong to the same lineage, right? But the majority are going to always look like what the base foundational image of the race, of the nation, of the people always look like. That's just going to naturally be what's going to happen. That a race is going to stay looking like what the majority of them have always looked like. That's just natural. It's very difficult for a whole nation to completely change their whole image and look like a completely different nation of people. But obviously it would still belong to that. That don't really happen, right? The Edomites these days still look like what the majority of Edomites these days still look like what their forefather looked like, that of a so-called white man. The Moabites still look like what in the majority still look like what they always look like, so-called Chinese people. The Hebrew Israelites, the children of Israel, still look in majority of what they always look like, the image of a dark-skinned, so-called black man, Native American man, or Latino man, or Latina woman, or Latin. You know what I mean? That's the how it works, man. But these people just can't understand the concept of these things because they don't want to, and they're dumb. Now, I was watching a video on this topic from I believe it's one of the elders, and he was reviewing a HOI video, and they brought out, because God Logic was there trying to say, who are the tribes? Who are the tribes? Who are the tribes, trying to make it be a skin color thing, but we've got a clear biblical defense against that belief that it's about only black people, because the Israelites are scattered into every nation. You can't deny that unless you're a scumbag. It's clearly written in the Bible, and lineage is decided by your father. So an Israelite that has a child with any woman, an Israelite man that has a child with any woman of any other nation, can only produce an Israelite, which is an attack on women's pride, because the men of the nation are the nation more than the women are, although the women belong to the nation too. But without the men of any nation, the nation dies out. That's just how it goes, man. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 64. This is what they read, HOI read. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 64. And Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And God Logic, which he thought he was being slick, he said, where were they scattered from? Right? And then the man said they were scattered from Jerusalem. And then he went, exactly, was you in Jerusalem? No, then you ain't, it's not talking about you. And I'm thinking, are you a fucking dumb motherfucker or what? That Jerusalem scattering was thousands of years ago. So obviously he ain't the original people that the scattering came from, but he's one of the scattered Israelites that now live in America. But when you're a dumb asshole, which there's not no nice, polite way to talk about people like this, man. They're just dumb, right? The guy's just dumb, man. And he's always got that big Cheshire Cat smile on his face, man. Like he's always smiling, like he's actually saying something out here. But then he really wants the spirit of what the Hebrew Israelites have, man. And what's that part in the scriptures where one man tries to buy, in the book of Acts, where man tries to buy the Holy Spirit and he drops dead, man, because he thought he could try and buy it. He thinks he can steal, if he defeats the Hebrew Israelites in a battle or in a debate or something, then he can organically drain that spirit through osmosis or whatever bugged out thing he's thinking in his mind. He's not going to be able to do it. Let me read this again, verse 64. And Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods which neither thou nor the fathers have known, even wood and stone. And he said, after this scripture was read, yeah, where were they scattered from? And then the man said, rightly so, Jerusalem. But then they wouldn't have only been scattered there, because they would have eventually been scattered many times the people that were scattered into one place would have ended up like the original scattering of the Israelites, right? When Israelites were scattered, when the children of Israel were originally scattered, and let's say when they went into the Assyrian captivity, for example, right? They initially would have all pretty much just looked like what they looked like before they got scattered. But after time of having children with the women of the different nations, then they would have looked different. But then if they get scattered another time, now those Israelites that have been scattered into one place, now that next Israelites look different than what the Israelites before them were scattered. But the majority would more than likely still look like what they always looked like. And then there'd be a scattering again, and they might be scattered and now mixing with a different nation. So they've already had their image changed by, let's say, being around the Assyrians. But let's say if they went from the Assyrians and ended up around some Moabites now you're going to have these Israelites that carry aspects of the Assyrian people's image, now having children with Moabite women. And then now, if they get scattered another time and end up around a different nation, like let's say Ishmael, now you're going to have some Israelites that have already had their image changed and altered by being around Assyrians. And then they've had their image changed slightly again, a second time by being around Moabites. And now they're going to have their image changed again by ending up around Ishmaelites. And they're Israelites still every single time, though. The Israelite men, anyway, they're still always Israelites. Right? They're still only ever when they sleep with these women and the women produce children for them, they're still only going to produce with children that are Israelites. But they're going to look completely different than what their forefathers looked like. And if this happens, and it did happen over thousands of years, there'd come a time where the Israelites would end up meeting an Israelite that's of their own nationality. A person that's of their own nationality that still carries the image of their actual forefathers, what they've always had. And when they have children again, they're going to end up just looking like what they always look like in their forefathers and their lineage. And that's why the scriptures say things of don't worry about endless genealogies, because it's too difficult to physically be able to know who your forefathers are. So you have to know spiritually now. Are you connected to the book spiritually or not? How do you know you're connected to the book spiritually? Do you believe the doctrine? If you do, you're an Israelite. If you don't, you're a demon. And then there's even some Israelites that don't believe the doctrine anyway. So the only people that are even worth mentioning is anyone that believes the doctrine. But God logic is a dumbass, because he thought he was saying something when he said that. He thought he was saying something. These times, the Israelite, he'd probably be the kind of dummy that would say, oh, the Israelites, if you're not born, well, he basically said it. He basically said that because he said, oh, was you in Jerusalem? Oh, so it ain't talking about you then? Okay. The Israelites that was only for 400 years in the Israelites' history in the Bible, if you know anything about it, for 400 years, the children of Israel was born nowhere on the earth apart from Egypt. They was born around the Egyptians, man, Mizraim in particular. They was born nowhere but Egypt, around the nation of Mizraim, right? Did that mean that these Israelites that were born only in Egypt now were now not Israelites no more, they were Egyptians? And if you say yes, well then the Israelites died out thousands of years ago during the time of Moses, right? After, like when Jacob, that would mean that when Jacob brought his descendants to the land of Egypt in order to save their life, and when Joseph was built up high and he said, oh, Yahweh did this so that we can save our nation, ultimately he said that in the book of Genesis, like 45 to 30, 47, somewhere along those lines, like we maybe 44 or 47. That would mean that Joseph actually didn't save the nation in that time by making the Israelites be able to come to the land of Egypt and have a savior from the famine, a salvation from the famine. That would mean that he actually sold us down the drain and killed us off, because he actually caused for our nation to no longer be Israelites, because we weren't born in the land of Israel no more and were born in Egypt. He died us off that all the way back then. You know what I mean? Like these people are just assholes, man. And I'm not saying nothing nice, no nice words to these people, man. But they have to be spoken about like this sometimes, man. Because you got people even saying a mixed multitude as well, as if the mixed multitude gets rid of the promise that Abraham was given before the Israelites even existed. That they was going to dwell in a land that's not theirs for 400 years. That's talking about the children of Israel that went through that. That wasn't everyone. But when you're just a liar, you're going to say whatever you want to say. To say that the Israelites are not no longer like to say something like that is just dumb. Because when the Israelites was in Babylon, then were they Israelites? Because Israelites was born in Babylon. We lived there for 70 years. You think that there wasn't no Israelites born in Babylon at that time? And were they still Israelites? But they were scattered though. Were they no longer Israelites because they was born in Babylon? Like, what is this idiot talking about, man? Tobit. There's plenty of people in the Bible. Like when you read Acts chapter, you know what? Let's go to it. When you go Acts chapter 2 and 5, right? And they were dwelling at Jerusalem, Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven. Were those people Israelites or not? They were Jews, right? Devout men that were Jews, and they were out of every nation under heaven. Were they not Israelites because they were born in another nation, among another people? Because it's funny how we in this world, like this idiot God logic will say that, right? But then I bet if he was to see me or any brother that's born over here in the United Kingdom, right? He's gonna say that we're black, and he's gonna say that he's black, and he wouldn't be able to just by looking at us tell if we're African American or not. He wouldn't be able to. But then when it comes to the Israelite thing and the biblical nationalities, all of a sudden he tries to, oh, you wasn't born there, so it's not talking about you. Like, what are you on about? If an Israelite is a descendant of Israel and they are born in another country, then it is talking about you. But he wouldn't, and the thing is, he wouldn't say to a Jewish man in America that he ain't a Jewish man no more because was born in America. He wouldn't say that. He wouldn't have the courage to say that. He'd be scared that his channel's not going to be on up no more, man. But when it comes to us, he'll say completely different things because he's a Scott demon. I bet there ain't no video, and I'll look maybe after I finish this. But I bet there ain't no videos of him running around debating Jewish people all the time. So why are you only coming and trying to debate with Israelites then? Because they also believe that they're Israelites too. Why is it that the world's only offended by when we say that we're the children of Israel? Like, does the world really change? I already know the answer anyway. This is really a rhetorical question. But does the world really change that much if we are actually the children of Israel? Does the world really change? Like, does the world really change that much if we're actually, let's put it out there like this. Does the world really change that much if we claim to be the children of Israel, but we're actually lying? Does that really change things? If we're lying about being the children of Israel, does that really ruin these people's day that much? Because they'll see a man claiming to be a woman and they won't say nothing. They'll see a man pretending to be a dog, to be a pig, to be a kebab meat. They won't say nothing about that. You know what I mean? But when it comes to us saying that we're the Israelites and they're saying, oh, they're cosplaying and all that. Okay, let's say we were cosplaying. Why do you care? How's that affecting your life? Isn't the whole rule of this, if it's not hurting me, then mind your business? And it's funny how they're trying to, these Christians trying to spend so much time trying to figure out who we are in the Bible, but haven't taken the same amount of time to figure out who they are in the Bible. How are you trying to tell us who we are or who we ain't in the scriptures, but haven't even took no time out to explain who and express who you are in the Bible? Don't you think you should be doing that same research on your own self instead of being all up in our business? Who are you in the scriptures, fam? What's your nationality? Which son of Noah are you from? Which one of the sons of Noah do you stem from, man? All up in our business, worrying about who the hell we are and who the hell we ain't. What about who you are and who you ain't, man? Why they worrying about us for? Verse 9, Parthians and Medes and Elamites and the dwellers of Mesopotamia and in Judea and in Cappadocia, in Pontus and Asia. You think all these people would have looked exactly the same? You think so? I don't. But do you out there? Do you think all these Israelites would have looked exactly the same? Phrygia and Pamphylia in Egypt and in the parts of Libya and about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes, Cretes and Arabians, we do here speak in our own tongues the wonderful works of God. Were all of these Jews looking exactly the same? I don't believe so. Because even all the men of the tribe of Judah, there's people that I've seen that I've seen that they say that they're from the tribe, that they believe that they're from the tribe of Benjamin when I watch Israelite videos, and they might have a wolf on their garment. Me and them don't look necessarily the same, but then there's some people that I've seen on video that I've been like, raw, that person, I thought it was me for a second there, and I don't know what their tribe is. So you people out like some Israelite brothers, when you see, you might be like, raw, we look like we could be actual blood family according to like their worldly standard, man. But then other people, you be like, nah, we don't. But they could still be from the same tribe. A person from the tribe of Benjamin can look, and this is where these Christians are dumb, man. Because a person from the tribe of Benjamin can look like they're from the tribe of Manasseh. A person from the tribe of Manasseh can look like they're from the tribe of Judah, just from understanding the concept of lineage is based on the father. Just by understanding that, you should be able to understand these things, man. Because there's this MMA fighter out there, Rampage Jackson, and he's got like 5 children or something like that. And all of his children don't look the same, but they're all Israelites, just like how he is. But they don't all look the same though. I think one of them's even so-called albino and that. They don't all look the same. Then some of them have children that he had with a Japanese woman, but they have his facial features, but they have darker skin, but they have a somewhat Japanese looking features as well. But you can tell that they're his children. And then he's got another son that people say looks exactly like him. But they all look different. The children do, but they still belong to the same father. So therefore they belong to the same nation. And therefore they belong to the same tribe. And these people can't even understand that. These people can't even understand the basics of if one man has got children by 11 different, so let me use this waste man worldly language, 11 baby mamas, right? And they're all legitimately his children. All of those children belong to whatever nation he belongs to and whatever tribe he belongs to, even if all the children look different. And if you can't understand that, you're dumb. And you ain't got no business trying to even come and talk deep about the scriptures. Because if you can't understand, let's get what Yahweh Shai said, man. Who better to quote than Yahweh Shai? John chapter 3 and verse 12. If I have told you of earthly things, earthly thing is this: a man's lineage, right, is connected to his seed. When a man puts his seed in a woman through intercourse, whatever lineage and tribe and nation he's from, that's the lineage that his child is going to now become connected to. Simple as that. The Messiah Yahweh Shai is connected to the lineage of David because his father, in earthly senses, was Joseph, who was connected to the tribe of house of David because he was from it. It wouldn't matter whether the mom was. People say whether the mom was or not. It don't matter whether she was or wasn't. The mom could have been an Edomite. He would have still been, and this is where people don't get it. Let's say that the mom was an Edomite and Yahweh decided that through this man Joseph right now, the next woman that he sleeps with, that's going to be the Messiah. It wouldn't have even mattered if the woman would have been an Edomite. But Yahweh didn't give that to Yahweh Shai, but he did it. It wouldn't have mattered if Yahweh decided the next woman that the next descendant of one of the house of David, that's going to be the Messiah. The next man of the house of David, lineage wise, true lineage wise, that's how a child with any woman, that child is going to be born an Israelite, and it's going to be Yahweh Shai. Right? It would have been Yahweh Shai no matter what the nation of the woman was. Or let's say that the mother would have been an Israelite of a different tribe. Let's say she weren't Judah and she was Simeon. Well, she would have still give birth to the Messiah, Yahweh Shai. But these Christians, they just get dumb, man. But let's read this anyway. Verse 12, if I have told you of earthly things and you believe not, how shall you believe if I tell you of heavenly things to be scattered among different nations? That's a earthly thing. Haven't you people heard of it? Like, haven't you people even just on the most base level heard of immigration? Like, what's wrong with you people? Have you even heard of in the most basic level that people don't just stay in the one country that they are and stay there forever? It's even in the Bible. When the famine happened in the land of Canaan, did the Israelites say, you know what, we're just going to sit this one out and roll with the punches and stay? No, they moved out and they went to Egypt. Then they went back Then they went somewhere else. Then they went somewhere else. And don't you think the other nations also did this? The other nations didn't only ever just stay where they were neither. Some did, some didn't, man. But the Israelites specifically, who the whole earth's about the Israelites. Everything going on the earth is because of the Israelites. The world was made for our sake. You heathens are made for our sake. It's all about us. And if that sounds arrogant, we don't care, because Yahweh Shai made a statement that could be considered arrogant, that I come in a volume of the book. That book is about me. That's what Yahweh Shai ultimately said. And was he lying? No, he weren't. No, he weren't lying. And Yahweh Shai is going to make his own people joint heirs. Like these Christians, when you hear them talking with regard to things in the Bible, they're just stupid, man. And if we was all born in Jerusalem, they'd still have a problem. That's the thing. They'd still have a problem, and they wouldn't say to a Jewish person that if they wasn't born in Israel, that they're not that. They wouldn't say if and the elder put it up on there anyway. He said if a Chinese man isn't born in China, is he no longer Chinese? And it's just like these people are just dumb, man. They're that desperate to not make us be the Israelites that they're prepared to lie about everything that they've ever believed. If part of our doctrine was that the sky is going to exist and that the sky is going to be blue on the day that the Lord returns, they'd be like, there's not even no blue no more. Blue don't even exist. Oh, but how do you know what shade of blue is it going to be? Since you're a prophet, what shade of blue? That's what they'll say anything. These people are prepared to say anything to make us not be the people, man. They don't care about truth, anything like that. They try and make it like they don't understand that a people can move and migrate to different places on the earth. As if that's what Abraham literally did. But then they'll come with some stupid spiritual versions of being part of the seed of a man. But they don't want to understand the most carnal form of it. They'll be like, yeah, we're all Abraham's seed spiritually now because of Christ. But then when you say no, but there's specific people that would literally belong to Abraham's seed because of sex, a man getting it with a woman. Oh, no, that's not true. No, it's fucking true, man. Don't try and play with my intelligence, bro. I know what's up with this. It's true. And if you can't understand earthly things, how should you believe if I tell you heavenly things? So it's no surprise these people don't believe in the chariots. These people can't believe in the MOTB is the micro C hip. So of course they can't believe that we're going to throw tanks. These people can't believe that your lineage is decided by your father. So of course they can't believe that we're going to be able to fly. These people can't believe that the so-called black woman can't grow hair because of she's cursed in that department right now, in the majority. So of course they can't believe that we're going to be immortal and live forever. Of course they can't. These people can't believe that so-called black people could actually have been deceived into believing that they're black when they're actually the children of Israel, right? So of course they ain't going to believe. Of course they ain't going to believe that we're going to be immortal and be able to move things with our mind and fly and live forever on earth and do all kind of heavenly things. Of course they ain't going to believe that. And they don't even really believe in hell neither. They don't really believe in hell. They say it all the time. They don't really believe in hell. These Christians, and it's not even real anyway, but they claim it, but they don't really believe in that. Because if they did, there'd be a lot more restrictions on how they roll up on people, man. They'd be a lot more humble. They're proud as hell. A Christian is one of the most proud, disrespectful, hypocritical demons that you're ever going to meet in your life. And they'll do it all with a stupid smile on their face. They'll try and fake nice their way into, like, you know what I mean? Even when they try and pass you them stupid leaflets when you're walking on the street, that's all to try and have a fake image of them seeming like they're doing something. When people roll up on them and they're cursing their ass out, they try and touch their shoulder. They want to try and make it seem to the public eye that from people that are standing far away enough that, oh, they're having a good conversation when they might have been getting cursed out by that person, man. That person might have been telling them about themselves. I'm gonna end the video there, man. These Christians, God Logic and these vocab Malones and all these people, they're bugged out, man. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're so dumb. Shalom to the nation of Israel anyway. Shalom.